Back with Bobby and JG Radio. We're talking all about the Falls Home and Garden Show. We are talking up next with Mr. Paul Hegel. He's retired Air Force Colonel. He's had 30 years of service. Thank you for your service.
You're welcome.
Mr. Hegel. And after retiring, he did some consulting. He's been a member of the Men's Garden Club of San Antonio, and he sits on the advisory board at USAA. And you've been married for 50 years.
And he's now the upcoming president here.
Now he's the incoming president here.
Yeah, and I think he travels by motorcade.
Secret Service,
right?
Black, limousines, all that stuff.
There's a helicopter on top of the building in case
of
emergency.
Right now there is, absolutely. So tell us about the Men's Garden Club of San Antonio.
Well, the Men's Garden Club of San Antonio actually was created about 47 years ago, so it's been around for a while.
I remember.
And and we still have, believe it or not, some of the original members are still alive, but some are barely alive. But anyway, we started in 1969, and we're part of the national group, which eventually we seceded from because they didn't allow women. So it took us 19 years to get it right, but we finally made it a men's and women's garden club.
Did you keep the name?
We didn't change the name, though. And the reason we didn't change the name was it cost too much money to get rechartered and all that kind of stuff. So we decided to leave the name the same and let it go.
I'm for it.
And but every time we have a show or whatever, someone always says, "Oh, you don't have women in your club," and we have to go through that whole dissertation of why we are both men and women now.
I kind of want to just pitch in and change the name. No, I'm just
no, you don't change it. You can't mess with it. But what big projects do you have going on right now?
Well, we got projects throughout the year. We kind of start out with the first Home and Garden Show in February, and then we have what they call the Spring Bloom that SAWS, our San Antonio Water System, puts on. Then we do the Festival of Flowers, which is probably the premier show. And then the Folk Life Festival, and we do the other Home and Garden Show, and we got a lot of cats and dogs in between. Like Hollywood Park has a neighborhood, neighborhood sale, and we get involved in that. But we're pretty much involved in all aspects of gardening throughout the year, and we try to incorporate that into our monthly meetings with our guest speakers. We get guest speakers that talk about all different aspects of gardening, and I tend to be more of an organic gardener myself, and I'm sort of pushing
where this is going.
I'm kind of pushing that idea right now, and so I get a lot of speakers that's my present job in the club, getting speakers. I get a lot of speakers that tend to be more organic.
Is there any speakers that we may recognize?
Mark Peterson was the last month's speaker. He's with SAWS. He's an arborist. We get, guys that probably on radio shows like.
There was one that was always before our show on Sunday, and they talked about, that it was a garden show, and I actually would just sit and listen to it because I was waiting for our show to come on. But it was actually kind of awesome.
Well, Jerry Parsons is one.
I think that might be
one that we've had it many times as a speaker. Kelvin Finch, he's a gardener, and Bob Webster has not actually spoke to the club, but we have a good relationship with him because of his organic gardening slant.
So tell us about membership opportunities. Like, what's the benefits of being a member?
Well, the benefits of being a member is that, number one, you learn a lot about gardening, which is the primary benefit, but we also have discounts at some of the nurseries as a member. You get to go to the shows like the Home and Garden Show. As a volunteer, you work at the show, and plus you get to see the show, which is kind of a neat thing. And all the other shows, the Festival of Flowers and the Folk Life Festival and all that, we get free entrance to that as members. You just have to volunteer your time and do a little work.
Sure. I want some advice. So it's coming fall, winter. So what can I plant that's gonna last?
Well, a lot of people think of spring planting as the only time to plant, but in San Antonio we really have
year-round?
Year-round planting, basically. The two main planting times are spring and in August, if you want to have a second crop of tomatoes, for example. But if you want to get into like winter crops, this is a good time to start planting things like wildflowers. You know, a lot of people are into wildflowers nowadays. Cold crops, broccoli, kale, and crops of that nature. Cauliflower, caraba, and all
I'm
those
actually going
kind
through
of
that now. So I'm building a house and I'm designing the kind of almost a xeriscape, but I want plants that can live without me having to baby them. So I'm probably gonna have to talk to you about that.
Or you can just join the Men's Garden Club by going to www.mensgardenclubsa.org or get some more information at 210-493-9853. Again, that's 493-9853.
I try to get free information.
You were trying to, but it's not it. But thank you guys. It was an awesome show. We'll see you next week.
Okay.
Bye.